Let's get this going. All right. Welcome to Rave Green Magazine. I'm Rich Michelson, Seattle Side Up soccer editor. And joining me today, Ian Loney, all-around good guy, soccer aficionado, Sounders fan, and I don't know, are you a Euro snob soccer fan, or do you like the Ameritrash?
No, I'm a fan of all things soccer. Honestly, I like the
Okay.
low quality MLS and the high quality Europe stuff. It's all fun.
It's all fun. All right, well, let's talk about the low-quality MLS stuff. I mean, the awesome Sounders.
Yes.
They just had a match tonight. They had a match last week. Let's talk about the last two matches. Two one-to-one draws. What are your thoughts, Ian?
Well, I think honestly they were both pretty fortunate 1-1 draws. I think they were largely outplayed for a lot of both matches, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of the new guys are still developing chemistry with Even Shits and Martis and all that. And I think it's just going to take some time. Unfortunately, it's a part of the season where they don't really have time.
Yeah, that's certainly true. On that topic, good news. We have a 2-week layoff, like the first actual bye week we've had the whole season.
Amazing.
It is amazing. So I mean, guys can get healthy. There's some time to practice. Dempsey will probably and Evans are going to go off for international duty, but that's just I think a one game shot against Mexico next Saturday.
Big Gold Cup match.
What do they call it? The CONCACAF Cup is what they're calling
Oh,
it. That's the ending here. So it'll be down at the Rose Bowl. Hopefully those guys play well and don't get hurt.
mhm.
That's my hope. And then we finish off the season with Houston and RSL. But before we go, too much into that up in the future, let's come back to these last two games. So I got to tell you, Ian, I am super disappointed with the performance at Kansas City
Mhm.
against a totally second string side, at least until Peter Vermees brought in his big hitters kind of late in that game. But really, a second string team.
Yeah, no Zusi, none of their big hitters were there. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
No Fellhaber. I mean, come on. I mean, am I hoping too much? Our first team, shouldn't they be able to get 2-0, 3-0 up on these guys?
I would think so. Now, in that game, Kansas City did turtle a lot. They were just not letting us do what we do best, which is counterattack, I think, and it made it hard for us. We had to actually get in there with quality, and sometimes there's not enough chemistry yet to do that, I think.
I would tend to agree that it doesn't seem to be the precision interior passing like we
Mhm.
had a season. I mean, I remember, you're watching New York, which I understand that the New York team, New York FC, is not a great team. But I remember watching a couple of the goal sequences there where they just picked them apart and had 30 pass goal sequences leading to the goal. And I mean, to a certain extent, they were kind of mundane until they were amazing.
Yes.
And that seems like it's gone. Like we're having trouble just doing simple passes back and forth without getting fancy.
No, the Sounders had that early in the year, and I think they will again. It's just a matter of time. It's like I said, it's all these new guys. It's trying to get them to gel. It just takes a while, and in the meantime, I think they're at their best when they get those people in. Though I think there's been a lot too much starting of Papa and the other guys, and not enough of Freeberg and Even Shits and the others. I think they need to do more of that.
I watched this game, and Panetta, has kind of come back on, and it makes me think that he was tired and worn out in the middle of the season, the dire days. And I also think he wasn't healthy. It's after having a few weeks where he didn't play, then he came back for Champions League duty, and he looked healthy, he looked fast, he looked fit. I'm like, oh my goodness, I mean, where was this guy? And then today, I get that he and Alonso have this chemistry, they have this rapport.
Hmm.
They didn't have the rapport today for whatever reason. It just wasn't there.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, you watched a good chunk of the match. What did you think?
Yeah, they seem to have a lot of problems maintaining possession in the midfield from what I watched of the game, and I think that was a lot of the problem was that chemistry. I think that I don't think Pineda at this point in his career is their best 11. I think Freeberg is a better option. He's a far more creative player at this point, and I think they push forward a lot more strongly when he's in there, and I think that showed late in the match when they were generating a lot more pressure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree that he needs to be that kind of super sub role much more than in that starting 11.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I saw a lot of was Alonso pushing forward, being the attacking midfielder, which seemed very strange to me since that's not really his
Mm-hmm.
skills. Certainly, he can go box to box, but I mean, what did you think? What did you see there?
Well, I think it's an extension of him just trying to be the good initiator. He's always come forward a little bit. He's never been one that just sits right in front of the back four. I mean, he's always gotten involved in the attack. I mean, he has his 90% pass completion rate and all that kind of stuff. And I think he often helps spur the offense. And I think once they were behind, he came in a lot more and started doing that to just try and push pressure forward.
I get that, but I was seeing times where we'd have the two center backs split 25 yards, 30 yards apart. Panetta coming back for the ball, and
Mm-hmm.
Alonso 30 yards up at the midfield stripe, nowhere near to doing that double pivot with Panetta in the center of the pitch. The other thing I'm kind of curious about is the use of Ivanchitz. I mean, he is a true left winger. I love him out on the left wing. I love him getting out wide, using that left leg to hook balls into the box,
Mm-hmm.
also to switch the field. I love seeing that. But he's also a skilled withdrawn forward, basically the Clint Dempsey role. Not that I want him to try to do what Dempsey does, but I'm really surprised we haven't seen more of him coming to the middle to help with possession with Pineda and Alonso so we don't get overrun and can't hold the ball. He's one of the best ball handlers we have. What's going on with that?
Well, I think part of that has to do with the fact that you're already on the right wing. You have, well, in this game, you had Nagel coming in already collapsing, and then later in the game, Papa doing the same thing. They're both guys that they always put on the wing, but they always collapse toward the center, and it's always been a problem for us throughout the last couple of years is where we sometimes get too narrow. I think having the true left winger overall helps our attack. I still think they're trying to figure out how that actually works in practice, though. A lot of trial and error going on right now, I think.
I'm going to talk about this LA game a little bit. I thought that Martins played really well. I thought a lot of our pieces did. I thought the two center midfielders were not great. And obviously Scott had the terrible, just unfortunate mistake. I mean, probably just a boneheaded error. And, he was passing it to Pineda, who wasn't as dominant, obviously, as Alonso. Keane steals the ball, shoots it past, Fry. Nothing wrong with Fry there. A little bit on Pineda. But the one guy I want to call out is Dempsey just was not on. I don't know what the deal was. He was not clicking with Nagel, who usually he has a really good rapport with. Usually they do the runs, like the diagonal runs. They do the through balls really well to one another.
Yeah.
They just not get going.
He had that great early chance in like the 10th or 12th minute or something that he just totally shanked with a weak little left-footed shot. And yeah, he just wasn't on his best game today, I didn't think.
I don't know. I mean, I know he's been struggling with some fitness issues, and I mean, he just gets beat up the last half dozen games since he came back. He just gets assaulted.
That is part of it too. I mean, honestly though, overall I don't think MLS is that much more physical than like English Premier League or something. I mean, I see guys get bashed around quite a bit over there. I think that they found that Dempsey gets flustered, I think, when he gets beat around a little bit, so I think they kind of focus on him. I think it's becoming more of a theme of late. I might be wrong, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly something there. The other thing that I will say is, watching the late half subs when the Sounders did a double substitution, they brought in Papa, they brought in Barrett. I don't know what it was, but like Papa actually helped the Sounders a ton with possession, even though he was collapsing in, doing his invert thing. That was actually really great. And Barrett was just a beast. Like he might not have been super effective. He gave up the ball a few times, but he just had a huge work rate. I mean, much less skilled than Nelson Valdez. Here I am ripping the guy that scored the game equalizing goal. It's just really, really good to see him in a role that I think he can really excel at. I think
it's the perfect role for him. I don't think he's never really had the stamina to play a full 90, at least not at the MLS level. But yeah, as a super sub, late game guy, he just plays with so much energy and ferocity, and he's just, he's a bulldog for the goal. So I think he's really good in that role. And Papa as a sub tends to be much better than Papa as a starter. I've found this year anyway.
Yeah, certainly true. I was going to say that kind of going forward, we've got just 2 games left.
Hmm.
No more Champions League, no more Open Cup, nothing else to worry about there. We go to Houston,
Hmm.
is sitting at ninth or eighth or ninth in the table, I think.
Yeah.
I think actually at ninth now that RSL won earlier tonight, and then we finish up with RSL at home. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about these last 2 games?
Well, obviously they're both winnable games. Houston is not very good this year. I think they can go down there. They do have that narrow pitch down there that is a problem. It can tend to negate the quality of other teams I've seen in the past. But I think it's something the Sounders can actually pull out. They should, and they need to. They're only 3 points clear of the red line at this point, and once everyone else plays their games in hand during this bye, they'll probably be right on the red line and when that game actually comes around. The RSL game, I think it's another full open stadium game. As last game of the year. They're going to be playing. They need to get all 6 points from both those games. Honestly, there's no reason why they shouldn't.
I watched a superior team in Dallas just dismantle Houston in the early game today, and they just looked really on. And Dallas does a lot of things the Sounders do as well, as far as counterattacking at pace,
Mm-hmm.
and just being really smart with some of their interior passing, especially from the wings. Obviously, they're much younger, much less experienced team than the Sounders.
Yeah.
The Sounders can come and I think get a good start, necessarily a goal, but just a good start and get things moving along. I think they have a very good chance of taking all 3 points away from Houston and coming and demolishing, doing a little bit of revenge on RSL for that loss up in Salt Lake from a few weeks back. That kind of brings us to a good segue to the MLS playoffs. They just released the schedule coming up, and in all odds, I think the Sounders at this point are definitely going to be in one of the knockout games, whether
Most
they
likely, yes.
on the road. And what I want to talk to you is about the playoff format itself. So, we got the knockout game, which is very simple: win or go home.
Yes.
But then we go to the conference semifinals and the conference finals, which are a little bit different in that they're home and home games.
Aggregate scoring.
And it's an aggregate, whoever has the most goals at the end. But what I want to talk about is the tiebreaker. Last year, we had 2 teams advance based off of the tiebreaker, which is away goals.
Mm-hmm.
The Sounders got an away goal against Dallas and then had a really ugly home game, which is a 0-0 draw, where no one seemed like they wanted to play offense at all. It's
Neither
just,
team.
just like all the bad things that people say about MLS were summarized in that match. And then the same thing happened basically with LA, is that they got an away goal, we didn't. It was tied, and they advanced because of the away goal. What are your thoughts? You're a much bigger fan of European soccer than I am.
It's the same format as the European Champions League. It's the same format as a lot of those kind of tournaments, and I can't think of a better way to do it. As bad as away goals are as a tiebreaker, shootouts are worse, and they're coin flips in my opinion. I think away goals are the only way to really fairly decide that kind of thing.
Why not just do more? Why not just do extra time? Because they don't do extra time unless there's no away goal differential.
Right.
Just play another 30 minutes and then unfortunately go to a shootout, which I don't think anyone really likes. It's kind of like this is the least worst thing. But why immediately have that away goal thing, especially given that we're Americans, we do things a little bit differently. We like things to feel. Why are we doing? Of all the tiebreakers, this seems like just the most arbitrary.
Well, honestly, before they actually implemented this rule last year, I actually was advocating for them to go to this kind of system because I felt that the extra, if it was resolved in extra time, it was great, but 9 times out of 10 it isn't. It just goes to a shootout, and it goes to whichever goalkeeper guesses right, and it's just, there's no, it's not decided in the flow of the game. I know the away goals is a poor tiebreaker, but honestly, an away goal is harder to get than a home goal. So if you get more away goals, in one regard, I guess you're supposed to win. You deserve to win. So, I don't know. It's like I said, neither way is perfect, and I think away goals is just the best of a number of bad options.
I actually think that the format actually gives the team that quote unquote has home field advantage, that's playing at home second, actually a distinct disadvantage because their goals are not as valuable as the team they're playing against. They have to basically get an extra goal if like let's say you played an even first match, you didn't get a goal, they didn't get a goal, it was a 0-0 draw in the first match. You come home, if they score a goal and you score a goal, you're tied. It's a 1-1 draw. Lose because you gave up a goal at home. It's a really weird system that doesn't seem like it actually gives the quote unquote home field advantage holding team an actual home field advantage. And I don't know a good way to do that. I actually like the home and home thing. I just wish, I mean, maybe I'm just a little bit of a sadist. I just wish they'd play until someone scored. Go to golden goal, just play until people die. I mean,
people fall over, yeah.
I think shootouts are terrible. I like the golden goal, especially in soccer where goals are so valuable.
Yeah.
I won't go into any of them, but I'm just curious about your thoughts on that. I know European soccer does that, so.
Golden goal, then you run into the problem of wonderful MLS officiating and a bad penalty call deciding everything, and yeah, then like I said, there is no good option.
It's true. Play another 90.
Yeah.
Give both managers 2 more subs and play another 90. I don't know.
Or just schedule a third rubber game and on a neutral site and just figure it out. Empty stadium.
It's something better than. I understand away goals as a tiebreaker in like a tournament, like a World Cup or a Gold Cup, where it's the points, then it's the goal differential, and then you go to like such a random thing as away goals.
Yeah,
it seems just seems a little bit arbitrary. That's all. I realize there's probably not a better way to do that. Otherwise, they might have thought of something. But it just seems strange. That's all. The other thing to note is, it looks like December the 6th is MLS Cup. So it's a winner go home kind of thing. Teams will play just the one game after a layoff of like 2 weeks.
Yes.
How long this playoff goes. I think, having watched the MLS playoffs for the first time, really paying attention the last couple of years, just because the local team here, Real Salt Lake, plays a lot, and actually went to MLS Cup a couple of years ago. I just thought that the layoffs, the amount of time it took to get through the playoffs, really killed the momentum of the playoffs.
Yeah, especially that week off. In the first rounds, the play-in game, and then they play in that same within an 8-day period. They play the play-in game, and then they play the home and away of the first round. That goes by really quick.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Then 1 week for the first leg, 1 week for the second leg, then an off week, and then the MLS Cup. It drags it out way too far.
2 weeks between conference finals and MLS Cup, and I realized that there's, I guess, another FIFA window in there that we're dealing with.
Which always seems to come up right around the time of the MLS Cup too. Yeah, I think it's a friendly window or a Euro qualifier or something. Yeah, I think I'm personally of the opinion I like the home and away. I like the aggregate scoring. I think from a scheduling standpoint and from a viewership standpoint and keeping interest, I almost think we should get rid of it. I think just having one game, the team with the better record hosts it, and then just winner take all. Let's go with extra time, shootouts. Let's just have one game decide everything. It'll give it a lot more excitement, I think, a lot more appeal to the American attention span, and all those things. I think it's better for the game here.
I guess my other thought, I was talking with my nephew, who's a huge soccer fan, huge RSL fan, and we both kind of concluded after like a 3-hour conversation on the topic that they need one day every year that is MLS Cup, like Friday, or the Saturday for Thanksgiving,
like a Super Bowl Sunday type thing. Yes.
Yeah, this is when the MLS Cup will be every single year. And whether it goes to the home, the winner who has the best record, or it's a neutral site, or whatever the rules are, know that you can mark your calendar. MLS Cup is this weekend. I especially thought that Thanksgiving, like that's Thanksgiving Friday, there's a couple of football games, and that's fine. But you could find a favorable scheduling window, especially with Fox and ESPN being your broadcast partners. You can find something that's gonna work there, that you'd have good lead-in coverage and whatnot.
Actually, that's a good idea. Thanksgiving Friday would be a really good day for it. It's kind of a slow day sports-wise, and most people are off.
There's a couple games that are traditional, like the Iron Bowl between Auburn and Alabama. I think there's another game that's usually pretty decently sized that are, but that's that. But other than that, you're not fighting against anything else. You don't have to fight against NFL football on a Sunday or against football on a Saturday. That was just my thought.
I think MLS needs more consistency in its scheduling generally. I mean, I have to check the internet to figure out when the hell the game's going to be, because it could be at 1 o'clock on Saturday, 6:30 on Sunday. I mean, you just don't know, and it's so random. I mean, like football, you have your 10 o'clock games on Sunday, you have your 1 o'clock games on Sunday, you have your Sunday night game, your Monday night game, but you know when all those are, and it's only within those 4 or 5 windows, and that's it. Where MLS can start at 1, 2:30, 3. I mean, it's completely random.
Yeah, I mean, I have games kicking off. When I check my MLS Live as early as 1 and as late as 10.
Yeah.
Eastern, which is just kind of a ridiculous window, a 9-hour window for soccer.
Yeah.
I guess any other thoughts? I guess one thing we never even talked about, we were going to talk about just briefly, Chad Marshall. Obviously, his impact was today. Had a neck sprain, a really awkward fall in practice. Apparently, he's gonna rehab with the Seahawks this week because it's more of a football similar to football injury. He's going to rehab with their teams. He's going to come back and train with the Sounders following week in their lead up to the game in Houston. He's only expected to have missed just this game against LA Galaxy. His prognosis is pretty good, but let's talk about his defensive impact, and then we'll wrap up.
Well, clearly, I mean, if he's in there, I don't think he makes that pass that Scott made that led to the goal. I mean, period. He's clearly the best defender they have. He's also the best target on set pieces they have. He's the only one that's really dangerous with the headers. They need him back. If they're going to make any kind of run in the playoffs, he has to be in that lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. The chemistry between Marshall and Evans in the back line was I think, the single key to that good run the Sounders were on to start the season, because everything came out of the back, out of the center, up to Alonso and Pineda, and then went on up to the offensive juggernaut that up at the top of the formation. Well, Ian, it's been great to chat. We've taken a lot of time and talked on a lot of things, and it's good to chat with you every week.
You too.
Check out our soccer coverage. We'll probably be doing a little bit on the CONCACAF Cup between the U.S. and Mexico, and then, of course, the last 2 matches of the Sounders. Once again, follow us here on SeattleSideUp.com. Follow us at Twitter at SeattleSideUp, and you can even tweet at us. Both of us have Twitter handles. So, all viewers, thanks a lot, and have a good night. Thanks, Ian.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, Bob with Seattle Side Up. Thanks for watching the video, and we hope you like it. We've entered the 2015 Best of Western Washington Best Sports Blog, so please go to the site in the description and vote for us.